Hi everybody, my name is Laura DeVita. I'm going to be your professor this semester. This 8-week course is called Introduction to College Research, and this presentation and the ones we have each week to follow is just to kind of orient you to what we're going to be doing each week. This first one obviously will cover what we're going to do in the course as a whole, and then any additional lecture content that I want to emphasize that will supplement or be in addition to your reading. So welcome to the class, and as you'll learn pretty quickly, I talk a little bit fast and tend to kind of get off on tangents once in a while, and I'm not trying to be super formal with this presentation, so just bear with me and I will try to keep these as brief as possible. So this first week we are going to be covering our introduction to the course. We're going to talk about some of the resources that are available to you. We are going to talk about something called the information life cycle. So how is information in general produced, and then how does that impact what you find in certain resources here at the library. We'll point you to some content to talk about the different types of sources. So you may have heard things referred to as primary sources or secondary. We've got information for you on that. And then we're going to spend a bunch of time this week talking about the peer review process, because this informs a lot of your work here at Hiram. You'll often be asked to find scholarly sources or peer-reviewed articles. So your readings this week and a couple of things on the website are going to give you some background as to how that process came to be and why it's important. So this week, you're going to spend some time reviewing the syllabus. So I encourage you to read through the whole thing. Contact me with any questions. You can email them to me either directly at this email address at the bottom of the screen or through Moodle directly. And feel free to ask me for any clarification. And then we have a few readings to do this week. I've tried to keep the readings brief each week. I don't want to bog you down with a ton of work, but there is some stuff that you need to know. So work your way through those and then continue with the rest of this presentation. So if you want to hit pause and go do the readings, that's fine. It's not necessary. I think it's a little bit easier and makes this more effective, but that is up to you. And then for this first week, all we have is a discussion board. So you are going to introduce yourself and respond to the prompt by the 16th at 9 p.m. And then after that deadline, you can then go in and respond to your classmates' posts. So you will need to have both an introduction post that you've created and responses this week. And so you have until Sunday at 9 o'clock to complete your responses. So that'll pretty much be the rhythm of discussion boards throughout the semester. So again, good luck this week. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me at this email address. All right, so to briefly go over what we're going to cover this week, we're going to talk about things related to the library's website. So how are you able to access the information we have here at Hiram? And then again, things that I've already said, we're going to talk about the information life cycle. We'll talk about the different types of sources, how to evaluate information to determine whether or not it's appropriate for your research, how to conduct research efficiently so you spend less time researching and more time writing. We're going to talk about algorithms and some other newer things in technology that inform the way information is presented to you when you search. And then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about plagiarism and how to avoid that through proper citation. How am I going to assess your learning? So we have a few different ways. We will have discussion forums, not every week, but I believe 5 out of the 8 weeks. We will have 5 quizzes. Again, these are 20 questions or less, and I think 20 would really be pushing it. But those will be done through Moodle. You'll have 2 short essays, which I believe are 1 to 2 pages. So again, not a huge amount of content. And then 1 cumulative final exam. So you will have an exam during the last week of class that covers all of the content that we have talked about these 8 weeks. The quizzes and the exam are all open note, open book. So do your readings ahead of time, review everything, and then you can page through them as you're working on the quizzes or exam, and you should be fine. So how do you know what you need to do each week? So again, the syllabus has all of the information. It's got the 8-week schedule for the course already in there. Each week in Moodle, we have a module created, so it will echo the information that's in the syllabus and go into more detail. So it will have links to the specific readings. It will have links to any quizzes or discussion boards you need to do. Everything is in Moodle, so go ahead and follow that weekly structure. Our courses begin on Monday each week and end on Sunday at 9 o'clock. That gives me time to do some grading before the next week gets started. Listen to these each week, and I promise going forward they will not be as long as babbling as this one is, but it is important to get the information out of the lecture and the slides each week. Read your emails. Please, please, please read your emails. That is how I will contact you if I need to change anything in the course, if we need to change content, or if something happens and we need to adjust the schedule in any way. That's how I will communicate with you. So please make sure you're checking your emails. And then please ask questions. I'm here. I'm a very friendly person. I work in the library. I'm one of the librarians here at Hiram, so you can stop by my office. You're better off scheduling an appointment because then you can guarantee you'll catch me. But I am here to help, so just please ask questions if you need clarification on anything. And then just a few other things to keep in mind. So this course is a pass, no credit course. You do still need to get at least a 70% in the class to get the pass credit for it. And I will keep your grades up to date in Moodle, so you will always be aware of where you stand in the class, whether or not you're in danger of not receiving credit for it. I unfortunately, because of the brief timeline and the pace we're going at, I won't be able to accept late work. If something happens and you have to be out for a documented reason, just communicate that to me and we can try to figure something out. But in general, if I haven't heard from you and you've missed a deadline, you won't be able to submit the work or take the quiz. Or whatever the item is that you missed. We don't have any extra credit. There's 100 points available to you in the course. And again, everything is open book, open note, pretty straightforward. So I honestly don't anticipate anybody having trouble in the course at all getting their pass credit. So I don't worry about extra credit. And then if you need to schedule a meeting with me, I know we are not really meeting in person, so we can meet in person if you like. We can have virtual reference appointments. I answer emails. If you even want to call me, I have a phone number, although my phone never rings, so that would be a little shocking. But anyway, just let me know if you need any help. So that's kind of it for the summary of the course overall. So this week we are going to just do some basic introductory information. So most of what you will find that we talk about is available through the library's website, which is library.hiram.edu. I recommend bookmarking it. You'll use it all the time. An additional thing we have done is we've actually created a condensed version of the library's website specifically for your class, and I'm going to show you how to get to that in a second. But this is what the library's homepage looks like. So when you go to library.hiram.edu, this is what you will see. Any special announcements, changes to hours, like right now we have special hours because of spring break, events that are happening in the library, we have a book sale coming up. All of that information will be on this landing page, this homepage, as well as some shortcuts to how to start your research, which you see at the bottom of the screen here. However, as I said, we are going to go to something that has been designed specifically for our class. So if you look here on the left-hand side, and again, this is available from the homepage, so about 5 items down, it says course/subject guides. So here I've put an arrow pointing it to it. You're going to click on that, and then you're going to scroll to the bottom of this huge list, and there's going to be an item, not all the way at the bottom, but pretty far down, called POPS 10101 Intro to College Research Course Guide. That is our course guide. So go ahead and link on that, and you may want to bookmark that because that is going to bring you to this page, and it's just a much more condensed, easy way to get to the information I want you to look at. And these boxes that we have kind of line up with what we're talking about this semester. So again, try to bookmark this. If you have questions about how to get to it, go listen again, and then if you still can't find it, let me know, and I can help you out. So, one quick thing to talk about is the information life cycle. And this is very important when you have to find resources that are a specific type for an assignment, such as peer review or scholarly articles. So I just briefly want to talk about what the information life cycle is and why it impacts your research. So let's pretend for a second that some event has happened, and obviously something newsworthy happens pretty much every minute of the day, but we'll pick something that would have a big impact. So let's say, oh goodness, Elon Musk has yet again tweeted something that has upset everybody about the way he is handling employees at Twitter. That seems to be happening frequently. So the day of Elon Musk's tweet, or even within seconds, if not minutes, social media is going to pick up this information and it is going to spread like wildfire. So everybody is going to be retweeting and then commenting, creating social media posts. You're going to see a flood of information about this. Now, the information that comes out is often incorrect. We don't know enough about the situation yet to have, any facts available to us. We just know what was tweeted. So a lot of the information that comes out right away, likewise, will be emotionally driven. So people get very upset and they react and they post to social media to express those emotions, whatever they may be. So there is a huge volume of information that is created within moments of the event happening. The next day, the news media, popular news media, has started to pick things up. So you'll see lots of web-based articles talking about, this tweet went out yesterday. It's created a big uproar. This is what we found out so far. But again, things are still evolving, still being researched. So we still don't have the full story or the full picture, but we've got more information than we did in the moments immediately after the event happening. And then a couple weeks later, so we've got our news reporters out there doing more work, more research, more information is available. And things like the Associated Press have picked up the article. Research has been done. It's widespread publication is happening, including in some of our popular magazines, things like Time Magazine or, the different news sources that you read online. But then we have something that takes quite a while, and that is our scholarly research and the articles that come out of that. So scholarly research takes, time, because you're conducting research. You are connecting that event back to the area of study that event relates to, and so that takes time. And then we have something called the peer review process, and you are going to read a lot about that this week as well. And that creates a delay in when the information actually comes out in these academic journals. It can be anywhere from 6 to 18 months. Some of them are quicker. Some journals are, they don't necessarily go through the peer review process, even though they are academic. And so you might be able to find articles immediately. But the point of all of this is that if you have an assignment for a class that requires you to find scholarly articles, you're going to have to pick something that probably happened about a year ago or more, because finding current scholarly peer-reviewed articles will be a challenge for you when something has just happened. So that's something to keep in mind as you are, taking your classes here at Hiram, that perhaps you might need to adjust your topic depending on the timeline. And then at the end here, we have books, academic books or monographs that come out about the topic. And obviously they're much longer content, so it takes a lot more time to write them and edit them and get them published. So those you won't see for a couple years after the event. So what types of sources are out there? Luckily, we have a link from your page here that will point you to some information about this. So second row on the end, primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. If you link to that page, it breaks them down, and it actually provides information to you about them across disciplines, which is really helpful. So somebody who is studying communications might think of primary sources as newsprint or, radio, podcasts, things like that, social media, photographs. That is going to be different than what we consider primary sources for history. Or for language and literature. So with literature, we treat the novels, the books, the plays, short stories, poems. Those are the primary source materials. So I encourage you to look through this site, just kind of play around, get a feel for what the different types of sources are and some examples. Look at what your discipline is, your area of study, and get yourself familiar with what's considered primary versus secondary. It's very helpful information to have. And then we get to the peer review process. So again, from our course guide that we got to from the library's homepage, we also have a box in the middle on peer review and scholarly sources. And if you link to that, there's this brief 3-minute video, which is a nice supplement to the readings that you're going to do. The video, if you watch that first, it just briefly explains what peer review is and how that process works, whereas our articles go a little bit into the history of it and why it's so important. So please read the articles and watch the video both. Those will give you a very strong foundation in what this peer review process is and why it matters. And we're going to come back to why it's important when we start doing research in the databases. But that is it. So hopefully this presentation hasn't completely put you to sleep. I will talk to you guys throughout the week if you contact me with emails or anything. Otherwise, you will hear from me next week with another set of lecture slides introducing what we're going to do that week and reviewing anything that I want to go over from the previous week. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks.